Good morning, everyone, and welcome back into this APMP Foundation Certification Study Group Session 5. This session is on proposal management. In our previous session, we saw how to develop a proposal, and now that we are set to go and develop the proposal, we need to also see how we manage the proposal. And in this particular session, we will see how the different best practices of APMP can be utilized in managing a proposal efficiently and effectively to deliver a proposal which meets the quality standards, which meets the schedule, which meets the right resource utilization, and of course the costs of developing a proposal. If a proposal is not managed properly, because proposals are are always with a fixed deadline, like a project, it has to be completed within a timeline. If there is any slag or if there is any delay in one of the activities of the proposal development, it affects the entire proposal, and in turn affects the proposal quality and the responsiveness of the proposal. So, for a bid manager or a proposal manager, it is very essential to manage effectively and efficiently a entire proposal management. So, let's see what we are going to cover in today's area to the session. Uh, Specifically, as I said, a proposal management is similar to like that of a project management, because it has got a objective and it has got a fixed date by which it has to deliver, and it has a expected value which it has to deliver. So most of the activities which we have in a in a project management, those activities also actually are applicable to a proposal management. And one of the most important things is as in a project is to have the right resources, because if we do not have the right resources, we will not be able to deliver the expected uh, product or the project within this time and within meeting the quality and the cost. So team selection and managing the team, and it's not only the selection, it is the managing the team over the overall period of the proposal, which is very important. And we will see in details of how team selection can be done, how the right teams should be selected, and how proposals should be managed, and in not including the not only the proposal activities but also the proposal resources, and has to be have to be managed. In our last session, we saw about storyboards. We learned about storyboards, how storyboards are used to define and design the content of a proposal. Basically, the proposal is about all about the content in the proposal, and we saw how we do the storyboard. But even the storyboard needs to be reviewed. So how and reviewing the storyboard is something like a design activity where you are actually validating and verifying that the design will deliver, or using the design you will be able to deliver the right product and the right quality of the product. So and you will be meeting all the expected value from the product. So storyboard review is a critical function of the entire proposal management, and we will see how we need to do the storyboard review, who needs to be participative in the storyboard review, and what should be the outcome of a storyboard review. Like in any project, the start of a project is a kickoff meeting of the project kickoff meeting. Similarly, in proposals, we have proposal kickoffs, and like it's said that a good start is half done. Similarly, in proposal management also, if you are able to if you are able to initiate a good kickoff meeting, you are in control and you are good to go and complete the project proposal within its timelines, and without much of uh, tension arising in the due course of the proposal development. And like quality checks and quality assurance is a part of a integral part of any project. Similarly, in a proposal management, you have to have proper quality assurance, proper quality checks, and that is something which we do in the review management, wherein we look at the entire proposal, shaping up a proposal and the finished proposal by from different perspectives by different teams, and we will see that how we do that and there's a very defined way of doing that in suggested by APMP and as a best practice, which is known as the color team reviews. So we will see how different color team reviews come in the entire proposal development phase, and they do their reviews and assure the quality and suggest ways of improving the quality. Like any project, risk is embedded into a proposal. Also, there are different categories of risk, there are different types of risk, there are different stakeholders who may get impacted because of a risk. So, and like in the projects, we manage the risk, we identify the risk. There's an entire risk management life cycle. We identify, we assess, we find out ways of mitigating the risk, we try to transfer the risk, and then finally so the entire process of risk management also applies to proposal management. So we'll see how risks are identified and mitigated and managed in an entire proposal development life cycle through proposal management best practices. And finally, the delivery of the proposal, the creation of the entire proposal, whether it's in the form of electronic document or in the form of a hard copy document, and the shipment of the proposal reaching to the right people at the right time, before the right time, rather before the proposal submission time. That all is covered within the production management, because unless we produce the right proposal in the right time and it reaches to the right people, it delivers it is delivered to the right people, the proposal will not be accepted. So that entire thing needs to be managed in a very effective way, and that's what we will see in the production management. And finally, every proposal you have got something to learn, and that can be whether the proposal wins or it loses, there is always to learn something from the proposal which can be used in the next proposal. If you win, there is something which you can find as a differentiator or as a discriminator for your capabilities, and that you can use in your next proposals. If you lose, you will know why, what are the reasons or weaknesses within your proposals or within your offerings, and you can cover them up, or you can strengthen them up, bolster them up, and see that in your next proposal you do not have those weaknesses in your proposal. So in a way, the entire proposal management, if you see, is very similar or parallel to it has a lot of parallelism to that of project management. Like but again, which methodology of project management you are following, which you are following, and whether you are following the PMBOK the style of project management, or you are following different types of project management like agile project management, you can see that each of them are applicable. In fact, a couple of years back, for PMI chapters, I did a session where I did parallelism between project management and proposal management, and we were really surprised to see that how effective project management can actually help in developing a right proposal development. I'll try to upload that presentation. I have to just look for that presentation, and I will try to upload it, and you can see how the typical project management functions and the processes apply to proposal management also. I'm also currently working on finding on a really on seeing that how the new project management techniques, like how new management techniques like agile can be brought into proposal management. In fact, we have sort of a framework which we are working on, in which we can see that how agile teams can be brought in, because We also know now that we have got some proposals which come in either late or have a very little time to respond, and in those cases how we can use agile project management principles and develop a project proposal on the fly without losing on the quality or compromising on the risks involved in the proposal. So there are different techniques which we can discuss, and you may be following a way of managing a proposal. Unfortunately, what happens is that proposal management processes are not documented as processes within the organization. Most of the organizations I have seen, the entire proposal management process is not documented, and that actually leads people to take circumvent the right path and take their make their own ways and do it, and ultimately it affects the entire proposal quality, and that delivers a product which is not matching the expected quality. And that to avoid that, we should always have a proper proposal management process within the organization, and see to it that everybody who is a part of the project follows that those project management standards or the proposal management standards. So having said that, let's see what are the different best practices related to proposal management. Coming to the next side, we saw it's the team selection and management. Team selection is very important in case of proposal management, because it is not just a matter of roles. It's a team selection is a matter of rather it's a not only a matter of roles we are defining in the proposal management plan, but also their response individual responsibilities. So you need to have very clear definition of the roles involved in a proposal management, and individual responsibilities. And we know that a proposal efforts can range from a single person to a dedicated team, depending on the type and the size of the proposal. And so it becomes very important that we have the right team members, and we manage them properly during the entire proposal development. And proposal management basically, when you select the right team, when you say it is the right team, it also means that the team members are not selected by their positions but by their roles and their responsibility in the project, in the proposal development life cycle. So be very clear, even if you are selecting a senior guy or a junior guy and giving him a role, he is clear about not only his role in the proposal, about the processes he has to follow and the roles in his in the entire proposal development life cycle, but also aware of his responsibilities. So it's very important that you establish a proper establish a management structure with defined roles and responsibilities. Sorry. So typically in a proposal or in a proposal project, in a proposal development project, you will see roles like capture manager, you will see there are project roles like proposal manager, then you have the solution architects or the solution heads, and then you have got the proposal coordinators. If it is a larger proposal, you may have even volume managers, you have the pricing manager. So all these roles have their own set of responsibilities, and their responsibilities either are related to a process or are related to the content. So a proposal manager is or a project or a capture manager is more related to the process side, is more related to the process. He may have some responsibilities on the content side, but his focus will be more on seeing that the processes are managed effectively and efficiently. Whereas there will be some members like the proposal writers, whose the solution architects, whose primary focus will be on the proposal content. So these people need to be very clearly told about what their responsibilities are, and what what their roles are, and what their responsibilities are, and what their deliverables. So this is has to be very clearly clearly identified. And depending on the duration which of the proposal you have to submit the proposal, and the availability of the resources to you. Not every time you will have all the resources you want for making a proposal, so you may have some limitations. Yeah, you may have a lesser number of people, and you, with that, you have to manage that. So you may have to adjust the roles. So you may, the same person may play the role of a proposal manager as well as proposal coordinator. The same person may play the role of a solution architect as well as a business analyst. The same person may play the role of a proposal writer as well as the graphics guy. So you have to tailor your approach for each proposal by adjusting the role assignments depending on the resources which are available to you. And but that does not mean that you will you should circumvent or you can jump over the proposal process. If a process has to be if they have a defined process, then follow the process irrespective of the number of people you have or irrespective of the schedule you have. So don't jump over the processes, keep the processes intact, even if you do not have the right resource, if you do not have the right number of resources. And this whatever we discuss, this all should be actually documented as an approach in your project management, in your proposal management plan. So like you create a project management plan in your, in case of a project, similarly in case of a proposal you also need to create a proposal management plan. And in that plan you need to create, and the proposal management plan can be a work breakdown structure, it can be a proposal responsibility matrix. Rather, we as we had discussed previously, you can create a different sort of proposal documents depending upon your organization, and those can become a part of your entire proposal management plan. But typically in your proposal management plan you should have the work breakdown structure, you should have the proposal responsibility matrix, which schedule which also has the schedule of the content of the development and the reviews and the final submission. So a documented proposal management plan will always help you in managing and controlling the proposal process development process, as well as keep everybody in the as a part of the proposal team aware of their roles and responsibilities, their deliverables, their schedules. So you need to prepare a proposal management plan and follow the proposal management plan. It's also very critical that you select the right type of people for each of the role. We typically have seen that we generally see that when you have a large proposal and you do not have a definite proposal management structure or a proposal management approach in the organization, uh, you are you get to get a set of resources which are available, and you are told that as a bid manager or the proposal manager that these are the people who are available, now make use of whatever use you can make of them in the entire proposal. You should be very clear on that message, that saying that the roles of you cannot take a person and train him during an entire proposal development life cycle on what his roles and functions and responsibilities are. He should be aware of it. So always be selective about taking the right people and assigning them the right roles. Do not, and that's like why I said that try to keep a difference between try to keep the separate the guys who will be the roles which will be responsible for the process and the roles which will be responsible for the content. Because if you overload the content person with too much of processes, or if he has to do the same things again from the process side also and then do the content development side also, he will have to compromise with either of this. So either he will skip the processes and only focus on the content, or he will only focus on the processes and try to manage with a inferior quality of content. So select the right people and assign them the right roles. Without that, your proposal management process will not be effective. You also need to identify the key roles in the process, in the entire proposal development process cycle, and identify the key rules and keep a backup of them. You cannot predict whether if you have taken a person for a proposal who has been assigned and is playing a key role of a solution architect, but in case he's coming from the delivery side, or he's coming from the project side, and there is some exigency in his project, and he has to go back and he cannot devote any further time to your proposal, you will be in a soup. So you always need to keep a backup, or identify at least a backup of your key roles in the proposal development, and have a handover process, a hand takeover and handover process also, that your solution architect can go to back to his project before, but before he goes, he has to give a entire handover, and the new solution manager or the new solution architect has to take over, and that has to be signed off by you, that yes, both are at the same levels and this person can seamlessly take over the task from where the previous person is leaving. So you have to identify the backups for the key roles, and also have the proper handover and takeover process. So that's a very important thing to have. To manage efficiently and effectively the entire team, you also need to have a very clear definition of the tasks which are involved, and also have a very clear, and not only you, the entire team has to have that vision, that what all we need to do, and what all needs to be delivered, and how the final proposal should look like. So you have to be very realistic in setting those expectations of the tasks, of the quality of the deliverables, as well as the schedules. So so that people are very and the team members are well aware of what is expected out of them, and they are in alignment with the entire project, the proposal management plan. And as I said, like, it's very important that you differentiate between the process and the content responsibilities, because overlaps on in these two responsibilities can affect the quality of the proposal. For example, if a person is responsible also for a process of reviewing, he will a person who is responsible for developing the content is also responsible for reviewing the content, you will not see much benefits coming out of the review. Similarly, if you overload the solution architect also with the responsibilities of coordinating between the different stakeholders, and getting the making the different stakeholders work on the proposal, you will find that his focus will be more in delivering the proposal in time rather than delivering a quality proposal, and that will be a deterrent to the quality of the proposal, and you should avoid that. And for that, it is very necessary that you differentiate between the process and the content responsibilities, and you have to manage the entire project, entire proposal development as a project, and like whatever is applicable to a corporate project, a strategic project, they should be applicable to the proposal development also. Typically, if your proposal is a strategic proposal, or a large value proposal, a big value proposal, so all phases, like, or like initiation, your project execution, project control, project execution, project planning, project control, execution and control, project closure, all these would be applicable to your entire proposal development life cycle also. And like any project, you should always reward the good performance, because you, as a project proposal manager, it will be your responsibility to keep the entire team motivated, to keep the entire team focused, and appreciation and applauds during any good work in the entire proposal development will help all others also to charge up and deliver the best quality of proposal. So in a way, you can see that the proposal management is nothing but a project management on steroids. And we say it's on steroids because we are always fighting and we are always charged to complete it within a very limited timeline and a very with a very limited within a deadline. So we always have that deadline in front of us and we are running as fast as possible to complete the proposal and deliver the proposal within that timelines. So in a way, a proposal management is a nothing but a proposal project management on steroids. So that's about team selection and management. You can refer to the best practices are related to team selection and management in the APMP guide. You can also refer to the daily team management best practices because they are all applicable to the team selection and management. They are all applicable to, sorry, the proposal management competency area. Moving next to the storyboard review management. As I said, like a storyboard is a design of your proposal. It is a design of your proposal, like how your proposal will flow, how the story within the proposal will come out and will excite the reader, the proposal evaluator, how it will meet their expectations, how it will deliver them the value they are expecting out of that proposal. So sequencing them, giving the right content, that is all what we do in a storyboarding, which we have discussed in our previous sessions. But how do you review your storyboard? How do you, it is also very important that you review. It is like something like a design review. Like you have designed something, but whether it will meet everything what is expected, whether it will meet the technical constraints, whether it will meet the schedule constraints and deliver the same expected value, is something which you do in your design review. And similarly in your storyboard review, you say you review your storyboards by external reviewers who have not created the storyboard, to see that the entire expectation of the story of the proposal is met, the quality of the proposal is met. So, and more from the content side. So you need to plan and schedule your storyboard reviews, your expected outcomes. The expected outcome can be suggestions, can be changes in your storyboard, and you need to review the entire, and you need to effectively manage this entire process. You should assign people for storyboard reviewers outside the proposal content development team. These people should be able to understand what exactly is needed out of that proposal, what exactly the customer expects out of that proposal, and review the proposal. And for that you need to provide them with the draft executive summary which you have prepared during the proposal, before your proposal development starts, because their draft executive summary will provide them with not only what is needed in the proposal, but also how you are positioning yourself, what you want the customer to expect from you, or have a profile of yours in their minds when they are evaluating your proposal, and also prove how your solution is the best for the customer. So you need to provide them the draft executive summary before they do the storyboard review. And you need to drive, as a bid manager or the proposal manager, you need to drive the entire proposal storyboard review, because you are the focal point, you are the pivot who will be using the entire resources and have the strategy of how the proposal is going to look like, is the objective, what is the objective of the proposal. So you need to coach the senior team. Generally do the proposal storyboard review with senior team members. So if you have got solution architects who are making the storyboard for the technical solution, have a team of specialists, or have a team of architects uh, who will review the technical solution and the story of the technical solution design which has been made, the storyboard of the technical solution made by the solution architect. And within your organization you should always push that you use storyboards effectively, and you adapt storyboards as per your organization needs. If your organization is into product based solutions, then possibly you may not need that much of storyboarding. Your storyboarding will be needed for the customization part of whatever you are doing in your product, because the rest all other features are standard features. But how your product is going to fit into the customer's portfolio of products or applications is something which you need to storyboard. How you are going to implement the product within the customer's organization within the timelines and schedules is something which you need to storyboard. But if you are doing a absolutely a bespoke or a greenfield or a custom application development, then in that case we are based on a set of specific set of requirements provided by the customer. Then in case that case your storyboard should be much larger, and it will need much more thorough review in the storyboard during the storyboard reviews. Also you need to set the organizational values, and when I say the organizational values is specifically what you are proposing to the customer as your differentiator, as your value. So if your proposal, in your proposal you are your value you are proposing is a uh, experience of having implemented similar engagements or similar solutions, then that should come out. If you are trying to highlight the value of your incumbency that you have with the customer, you have been working with the customer for last many years, and you understand that you have a cultural alignment. So the cultural alignment is the value which you are trying to propose to your highlight to your customer in your proposal. That that should be highlighted, and that should be brought in very clearly in your storyboard. And at times you will find that there are different teams which will be having conflicts and different interests. The solution team may be having interest in proposing a new technology, whereas the delivery team or the project management team wants to stick to the existing technology in the customer's portfolio. Now there can be a conflict of interest, because delivery team may not be having the same resources which are required, or maybe thinking in terms that if you are proposing something new, the customer may need to upgrade, and that will become a additional challenge or additional constraint. So when instead of that, if it is possible with a existing technology, we should go with that. So there will be conflicts of interest between different teams: the commercial team, the sales team, the delivery team, the solutions team. And you will need to balance those conflicts and keep the interest only align the interest only with the interests of the customer. Remember, the primary focus in on any proposal should be the customer. You should not move away from the customer interest, whatever is your internal solution team or your delivery teams tries to say. And as long as you are able to justify the value to the customers and taking care of the interests of the customer, your proposal will always get a better will have a better chance of winning. And you will need to initiate quite a wide ranging set of activities to achieve the business objectives. And these can be like asking the right questions to the customer, getting the subject matter experts getting the technology experts to see that the storyboards which you have created, the storyboards which are getting reviewed, are meeting the expected deliveries, expected quality of deliveries. And you need to clearly communicate this to a very diverse audience, which include your technical team, which includes your project management and delivery teams, which may include representatives from the sales as well as from the commercial and the contracts team. So your storyboard needs to be reviewed with a diverse audience, and you should be very clear in not only reviewing it with a diverse audience but also communicating them of the changes or the suggestions coming from the storyboard review. So in a way, your storyboard actually becomes a management tool, because you are managing the entire quality of your proposal with your storyboards. So storyboard management is a key management tool, and utilize the storyboards for managing and controlling the quality of your proposal, the flow of your proposal. So that's how we do storyboard review management. Let us now move to the next. And the next management process which we talk about is the best practice we talk about is the kickoff management, the kickoff meeting management. Like in any project, you start the project with a kickoff meeting, and the basic objective of the kickoff meeting is to bring everybody who is going to be a part of the project at the same levels of understanding of the roles, responsibilities, schedules, quality, and every other thing which will make the proposal a winning proposal. Similarly, in a proposal management also, you in a proposal management process also, you have the kickoff meeting, in which you plan, you prepare, you set the guidelines for review, and you establish the guidelines and the standards for the final deliveries. So basically, your kickoff meeting is the first thing which you need to do uh, with your team, the entire team of people who will be developing the proposal. And but before you have your kickoff meeting with your internal core team, you need to prepare for the kickoff meeting, and you should allocate minimum 15% of the time, you have preparation time, to the core team to prepare for the kickoff meeting. At the you should Your kickoff meeting should not invite everyone involved in the organization, from the organization involved in the proposal or related to the proposal, but you need to identify the right people who will be contributing to the proposal, who need to be kept aware of everything happening in the proposal. And these people can come from different roles. There will be people from the solution side, there will be people from the commercial side, the capture manager, the pricing manager, the even some reviewers, key reviewers of the proposal. They should be a part of your kickoff meeting, and you should invite them quite in advance and make them keep them aware of the proposal. And you should also keep the proposal sponsor, that is the vertical head, or the person or the organizational unit where this P&L will lie, of the proposal will lie. You should, and who is investing in this development of this proposal, you should keep him or her aware of it. And because the proposal sponsor can help you in getting the right people in the organization to develop the proposal. So because it is in the interest of the proposal, if the proposal interest of the proposal sponsor, to you can always get the right people. Before you have your kickoff meeting, you need to prepare a very concise agenda of what you are going to discuss, and share the agenda with your kickoff meeting invitees, so that they come prepared and they come with the right expectations. Generally, you will have people and who will walk into the kickoff meeting just because you have invited without having any clue. even if you have sent them the RFP, even if you have sent them a mail on what it's all about, because they do not really bother to read the RFP, and they do not really need to read the RFP also if you are sending them the opportunity briefing. So typically what we do is that we prepare a summary of the entire object, and it is a best practice also to summarize the entire proposal and RFP or the proposal documents, and share that with them, and also tell them about their expected roles in the entire proposal development or in the entire proposal management. So they come with a set of expectations, they come with their set of questions, and they go back with a clarity in mind of their role and their responsibility of the schedule and the quality of the deliverables. So you need to prepare this as a proposal kickoff package, and we have seen in our previous sessions that what all these should have. The proposal kickoff package can have the proposal responsibility matrix. It should have the proposal work breakdown structure. It should have the content guidelines, the style content style guidelines, or the proposal outline. All these documents can actually become a part of the proposal kickoff package, and should give comprehensive information to the proposal team even before they set out to write the proposal. And your proposal management plan, illustrating depicting the different roles in the proposal management for the managing the proposal and developing the content of the proposal, their responsibilities, their timelines, their schedules, everything should come in your project, in your proposal management plan, which is nothing but similar to that of a project management plan. You need to have very clearly defined review cycles in your in your kickoff meeting. You should need to tell them not only about the review cycles, about the review teams, but also about their internal reviews, their peer reviews, before they go out and before the content goes out to the reviewing team, or the proposal goes out to a specific reviewing team. So reviewing the tasks which are assigned to them and their timelines, what is the content which they need to write, so how much of the content do they need to write, so the writing task and the page allocations for each of the section or each type of content, and the guidelines for the proposal graphics, like how the graphics will be reviewed. Well, would the graphics be reviewed for the purpose of information or understanding of or supplement to the information what you are proposing in your providing in your proposal. So you need to set those standards and establish the standards, basically the ground rules specifically for the review meetings, that what will be reviewed, how it will be reviewed, how the review comments will be passed back to the uh, teams, development teams, the proposal development teams, and how those changes have to be implemented, how the new versions have to be uploaded. And these all ground rules you need to define, establish in your kickoff meeting. You need to establish the lines of authority. A proposal in a part, somebody in your proposal team may come from the vertical, and for some tasks you assign, he will tell you that okay, I will have to go and ask my manager about it whether I am supposed to do this or not. Now that blurs the line of authority. So even if you are getting somebody from a different functional unit or business unit, and typically you will be doing that, keep the lines of authority very clear about who is supposed to be responsible, who is supposed to be informed, who is supposed to be consulted, and who is going to be basically accountable. So the lines of the so prepare a resi matrix of all the people, of all the roles and responsibilities and all the tasks which you have in the proposal management, and use that as a for establishing a proper line of authority. And finally, the task assigned, every role should have a properly defined set of tasks with their schedules for established at the end of the kickoff meeting. So a good of kickoff meeting basically will ensure that you have everybody is set on the same page and has the same understanding, understand their roles and responsibilities clearly, understand the expected quality of the deliverables, and delivers it, follows the process and delivers the product in time. So you can see that a kickoff meeting is very critical milestone, and it requires not only a planning but also a very professional execution. So as a bid manager, you not only need to plan beforehand of for the kickoff meeting, but also need to plan of how you would execute the entire proposal development professionally. So that's about kickoff meeting management. Let's move to the next slide, and which is a very important and a critical slide, critical best practice. You get a lot of questions related to this in the APMP foundation examination, and this is about the review management. Review management, we know, is a part of the entire proposal development life cycle, the entire proposal life cycle, rather the entire bid management life cycle, because at every milestone you APMP suggests and you should have a review to see, a gated review to see that whether you need to take any corrective actions, whether you need to bring in or add in new capabilities, or whether you need to drop the opportunity right at that level because you are not aligned, or your winning is very limited, the chances of winning is very limited. So instead of going and investing a hell lot of efforts and money in developing a proposal which is not going to win, it is better that you drop the proposal. So for that reason, APMP suggests a set of reviews at every milestone, at a review at every milestone, and these review teams are known as colored teams because each of them come at a specific milestone, and they do a specific, they come with a specific objective of reviewing, and they do that in during in that particular review phase. So as we saw, the entire bid development, the entire bid business development life cycle starts with the pursuit. So you have the blue team actually, which does the pursuit review, pursuit review, and their responsibility is different from the decision making team, the review team which does the black hat review, or the team which does the red team reviews. So these at the pursuit level, you are, what you are validating is basically your winnability and your strategy to the win. Now this team reviews typically are the head, these are senior people who come from the delivery side, who come from the solution side, who come from the even from the commercial side, to check and review that whether this opportunity should be taken to its next levels, this proposal should move to its next levels, or it should be dropped over here. And they also review and provide you alternate strategies which you can take in your entire proposal development while you develop the entire proposal in your entire proposal development life cycle. So the blue team review is done at the pursuit level. The next, once you decide that yes, we are we qualify, or we have a strategy in place to win this deal, you bring you do the, at a bid decision level, you do the black hat review. The black team comes in and does the black hat review, and this is a team which actually challenges the strategy. The objective of the bid black hat team is to challenge and flush out all possibilities of weaknesses in the entire strategy, in the proposal strategy, in the proposal positioning, in the capability positioning, other capabilities of the organization. And these weaknesses which come out, and not only the weaknesses but also the strengths of the competitors in the proposal, when it comes out, you actually get an opportunity to cover up your weaknesses, to strengthen your weaknesses, and play against the weaknesses of the competitors, and downplay the strengths of the competitor. So the black hat team basically helps you in identifying or reviewing, helps you in reviewing the entire strategy from the winnability perspective, the competitor strategies, the competitor strengths and weaknesses, and gives you different guidelines on how you can be a disruptor in removing the incumbent vendor, or you can be you can be a champion or a partner to the customer in retaining your incumbency with the customer. So that is what comes out in the during the black hat review team. Black hat review team typically are people who are outside the entire proposal. So they will not be looking at the proposal from a delivery perspective or from a solution perspective, from a technology perspective. They will be only looking at the proposal from the competitor's perspective as well as from the customer's perspective. Why should the customer select you over other in the competition, and what are the threats you have from the competition which you need to which may make your proposal weak in the game. Once you have done the black hat strategy review, the black hat review, and you have come out with you have refined your strategy, you have strengthened your strategy, you moved to the proposal development, you proposal planning stage, where you plan how to do the how to deliver the proposal within the schedule, within the timelines, and seeing that everything else in the proposal is effectively covered. So the pink team reviews the entire proposal management plan, the entire proposal, the writer, the writing guidelines, the proposal responsibility matrix, and everything during in the planning phase. And these people can be people from the proposal team. Also, the pink team review can mostly the objective of the pink team is to check the completeness and the validity of whatever you are putting in into your proposal. So they also check the sequence of the proposal, whether it is in lines with the RFP, what is given in the RFP, or it has to change and bring in some more information which is in line with the evaluation criteria, or which will help the evaluators in evaluating your proposal and score more marks. So the pink team review basically checks more from the completeness and the relevance side of the proposal content. The red team review is the final quality review of your proposal. Once you have finished your proposal and you have prepared your proposal content and everything, you bring in the red team, and the red team does a thorough review of the end to end of the proposal, right from the objective of the proposal to the solution and the differentiators in the proposal. Red team review is a very critical in a proposal, and red team reviews actually will tell you about, also will concur with you and tell you about the winnability of the proposal. And it is the red team which gives you the inputs to change your proposal for the for mapping with the customers expectations, the customers requirements, and also at the same time differentiating yourself from the competition. And when your red team review does the review, you should, if the proposal, if the RFP has provided you with the scoring guidelines and scores for each section, the red team should actually use those guidelines and review it from that perspective, and tell the team about the weaknesses they find, or the improvements they can suggest. And that red team review management will should always have either should have not either or, but all of qualitative review as well as quantitative scoring. Okay, so that's what you do in your with the red team review. And finally, once your entire proposal is ready, and it is to be submitted to the customer, you get the top management involved, the executive sponsors involved, and do the goal team review. And goal team review basically checks the reviews the robustness of the entire proposal, not only the technical solution but the entire proposal, the implementation methodology, the governance plan, the way of you will do the transitioning. All these are identified and reviewed in the goal team, and anything which is not of value to the customer or is of risk to your business, that is eliminated. The goal team also does the risk management review. The goal team also needs to be told about the different types of risk which you are involved, and different types of how the risk can be mitigated, and what is the cost of the risk if the risk still comes into play and you do not have a risk mitigation plan in place, then what should be the cost of that particular risk, that should be identified, and emergency budgets or emergency resources are kept in line. So submission, so during the submission phase, before the submission phase, you should get the executive management involved in doing the goal team review. And the goal team review will always assess it from the cost perspective, whether the cost and the price which you are proposing is in line with the price to win strategy which you had developed during the capture phase, and a most likely price range, whether it is following within the most likely price range or not, or is there any other alternative. So it will also review the risks and the cost of the risks in the entire proposal if it converts into an order. So the review teams, we see each of the review team comes in at specific milestone of the proposal development life cycle and contributes in its own way, in its own specific way to the proposal quality, to the proposal's quality. Now most of the times you will see that you will have challenges in finding the right reviewers, and even if find the right reviewers, they will not have enough time to read through the entire RFP, to read through the entire your proposal management plan. So it is always better to prepare a docket of all relevant documents which will be needed for the reviewers, and share with them uh, a couple of days before even that particular review happens, so that they come prepared for the review and come with their suggestions. Again, the suggestions coming out of each of the review meetings should be propagated back to the team, with not only with the suggestion but the reason and the logic behind that suggestion, and what needs to be done to implement that suggestion. So with with every review management, you will be having a set of outcomes which has to be delivered to your internal project development proposal development team, so that they are in line with the uh, with the reviewers thoughts and comments. So this is basically the review management. The typical questions you will get in review management is, at which phase should you do this review? Red team should be reviewing the proposal at which stage? At the start of the proposal, or after the storyboard has been made, or after the proposal package has been made? Or whom should you invite in your for your black hat strategy meetings, or your black team review meetings? Who should be involved in the submission of the before the submission of the goal team review meetings? So these are the best practices which you need to follow. And the review management, remember, if you are doing the review management correctly, they are the only and the best cost effective way of improving your proposal. So review management is a very important practice in the entire proposal management proposal and bid management life cycle. Moving to the next is the risk management. Like every project, there will be an inherent set of risks, because there is a lot of information which is not available to you at the time you are making the proposal, and there will be a lot of information which will be missing from the customer side also, because they are also not having a very clear picture of what exactly and how exactly the things should be happening once the project gets started. So and also of their expectations as a stakeholders. So there will be a set of risks involved in the proposal, in the RFP, which you need to identify. And you don't only need to not only need to identify that whether it is a program related risk, or it is a risk related to a technical solution or the technical platform, or risk related to the schedule and the cost, but also how are you what is their probability of happening. Like if there is a risk which you have identified, that there is a depend like suppose you are dependent on a incumbent vendor for transitioning, and you are sure that the incumbent vendor is not that the incumbent vendor does not have a very uh, it will not be cooperative in the fullest extent, and your project may your entire transitioning may get delayed or may require additional efforts. So, and or even the transition may even fail because the right information is not being shared with you. So, what is the probability of the failure, and what is the consequence of the failure? Like in this case, if the probability of risk of transition is high and it occurs, then what it will impact, where it will impact? It will impact the schedule, it will impact the cost. You can mitigate it, you can bring in a subject matter expert, but that will be at an additional cost. You can squeeze your timelines, but again then that will be a overwork or a burnout of your team members when they are trying to deliver the project proposal within a limited time schedule. So you need to identify all the aspects of the risks, whether they are related to program, technology, commercials, contract. You need to identify the probability of the risk, like how probable is this risk of going to come up or shape up, and what is going to be the consequence of the failure, and what will be the cost of that failure. Once you have identified the risk and its attributes, you need to develop a strategy to manage them. And the strategy to manage them is basically whether you are going to risk management is done with different activities happen in a risk management. You find out ways to mitigate, you find out ways to transfer the risks, you find out ways to buy out the risks. Now these are different strategies which you will need to develop for each risk which you have identified. So what is suggested is basically you prioritize the risk, you identify the most probable risks and which are going to happen, and you set them on a high priority, and then you prepare the mitigation plan for these risks. Now you when you prepare the mitigation plan for this risk, you are actually what you are doing is you are not only saying that okay, if this risk happens, this is what I will do, but you are also showing your preparedness for it, that this is actually a advantage also. This is also a part of the proposal where you actually can show your strengths over the competitor. You know that okay, there is a possibility high possibility of this risk to occur, and I am already prepared for this because I already have solutions for this, I already have strategies for this, for to manage this. So that is also a way of showing your strength. But be honest in identifying the risks, but don't alarm them, don't try to alarm the client with all different types and possible types of risk, so that he either starts losing his confidence on you, or he loses his confidence on the entire program and pulls out of the program. I have seen customers pulling out of the program, saying that we are not prepared right now for this. We thought we are prepared, but right now, after seeing all these sort of risks, we are not prepared for this project at this time. So we will go back, fix our things at our end, and then come back with the proposal, with then come back with the project. Sorry. Now, once you have identified the risk and you have created a risk mitigation plan, the next thing to do is basically to create a risk matrix in which you identify the top 2 or 3 areas of risks, high of risks, and provide their management approach. So, if there is a risk related to technology, if there is a risk related to resources, if there is a risk related to program management, you should identify the risks in the all the risks in that particular category, and come out with a plan to come out with a mitigation plan and a mitigation approach of managing that particular category of risk. And it should all you should always all provide, whenever you are identifying a risk, or a category of risk, or providing or a set of risks for a particular category of risk, you should always provide evidences of similar risks you have managed. Now that actually increases the confidence of the customer, that these guys not only know what are the risks, but they also have solutions or approaches for mitigating those risks. Now, in this case, be credible and be real, because customers can understand the fluff, because they also go through the same challenges which you are which we think we are facing or we have faced for a particular customer. But so be credible in providing your evidences, and see that those evidences are real and not based on your assumptions. Secondly, and lastly, you should also define the risks in their respective sections. It is always better to define the risks in their respective sections, as well as in the executive summary, and have a risks and assumptions section also in the proposal. So different organizations take different approaches, as well as different customers provide different outlines or templates where they ask specific sections related to risk management, related to the risk management approach and the assumptions. So it depends on how what is the structure of your RFP and what has been asked in your RFP. But in every section, have a top level discussion of the risks involved in that particular section. So if you are developing, if you are writing about the section, the technical section or the solution section, and in that you see a risk in of the technology becoming outdated, you should always mention that risk, that the customer has preferred to go with this technology, but there is a possibility that this technology may get outdated, and there should be and the customer and the OEM vendor may pull out the support, may stop supporting it. But at the same time, you should also add to it that even if this happens, we are covered, because we have these capabilities in within our organization to support you, to support the technology. Now becomes a that becomes a advantage for your side. And also try to put the impact of the risks not to the limit of scaring the customer, but telling the customer in a way that if we do not take care of this risk, if we do not engage in this risk and take care of this risk, this may lead to this particular impact. This will be the impact of the risk, which will have other impact on the schedule, cost, as well as quality of the proposal. So you need to explain that, and you also need to explain the how the risk will be managed, whether the risk will be managed by buying in those risks. At times we buy in the risk and say that okay, I will own the risks, and whatever happens, I will take the organization will take the responsibility and do things to mitigate the risk. You can manage the risk by transferring the risk. You can say to the customer that we identify these as a risk in the proposed project, and unless these risks have to be owned by you or by the other third party vendors, and unless they cover those risks, it will be difficult it will be difficult for us to deliver the project or deliver the project within time and schedule. So you need to, in a way, create a dragon of risks. A risk is like a looks like a dragon. You have to slay the dragon, you have to kill the dragon, and show that you are a champion of managing such risks, and also ghost your competitors by showing that if they have not talked about this risk and they had this because of their size they have this risk, because of their technology limitation they have this risk, and win over the competition. So when the evaluators is reading the competitors proposal, they have in their mind exactly what risks they should look for, and if that risk is not covered by the competitor, you get a bonus point that see these guys know about the risk, these guys even don't know. So your trust factor with the customer goes up, and you also negate the competition. And this risk management is a very good way of competing of where you have a very price sensitive competition. In that case, use risk management. Typically I have seen and I use risk management as a differentiator, that you may go in for the cheapest product or the lowest product, but these are the risks underlying it, and this may finally end you up make you end up paying much higher than what you are paying for the product or the service. So the total cost of ownership goes up because of the risk. And also, not only cost of ownership goes up, it also dilutes your brand image, your image as a project delivery from the customer side. So that's about how we manage the risks. And finally, the production management. Production management is all about how and what all you have done in the entire production, in the entire uh, proposal development life cycle, gets converted into a single deliverable or a set of deliverables to the customer, which is nothing but your proposal. It may be your management proposal, it may be your technical proposal, it may be your price or cost proposal, or it may be a combination of all together in one proposal. Now how do you plan to manage this proposal transformation of whatever you have content you have created, time or content you have created, pricing you have done, and everything your solutions you have created into one single deliverable or a set of deliverables to the customer, is what we do in the production management. And it is very important that you identify a role of who is going to do the entire production management and include him in the core team, because this person can be your guy proposal, maybe one of your it can be your bid coordinator, it can be one of the guys who is managing a part of the proposal, or he is a content writer. But you should not include content writers in this. uh, Typically you should include the proposal coordination team and the or the bid managers as the production management, or you can bring in someone from separate from outside also. And you need to set the ground rules very clear in the production management plan on what will be the deliverables, what you are going to give them, what you expected out of the production management, coming out of the production management. Like your proposal may say that some of the like government proposals in US say that your proposal should be submitted in a 3-ring binder. Now if you do not set that the entire proposal should be printed on paper which can go into a 3-pin binder, you will end up in a mess, and you will you will be either punching holes, or you will have to reject the entire printed set of documents and create new documents, or print new documents. uh, your the proposal, the RFP may say that your proposal has to be submitted in 6 copies and with one master copy signed, one signed master copies, and 6 copies of the proposal. So you need to see that there is one master copy created, and then that is signed by the authority who is going to bind the proposal, and that signed copy is actually photocopied, and sub copies are created, or sub copies are created from the proposal. So the timelines, the ground, the quality, it may say that the proposal has to be printed only on recycled papers. Most of this government, green conscious government agencies, sustainability conscious government agencies make it a point. They may ask that proposals need to be submitted in USB electronic. They may say the proposal may be submitted in 3 different USBs, one in PDF and other two in Word document. So there can be different guidelines, and those guidelines should set the ground rules for the entire production management plan. And as I said, determine precisely what is needs to be produced, what whether you need to produce a electronic document, or you need to produce a hard copy document, or you need to produce the proposal in a the electronic document has to go in a USB or in a CD-ROM drive. You need to determine them very precisely. When the production management also includes the delivery of the proposal to the customer. So plan that also out equally. If you are going to print your proposal locally and submit to a different location, plan out how it is going to reach, how much time it will going to reach, what is the buffer time you have. Test all the systems prior to the production. It is a simple law that if anything is Murphy's law, which says that if anything has to go wrong, it will go wrong. So it is always better that you test the systems before the production, whether it is your printer, whether it is your CD writer, or whether it is your courier who is going to take your production, take your proposal. Test them before you actually start your entire work on production develop on the production on the proposal production. Maintain backups and have an alternate facility ready, even if there can be, like there were I have seen situations where the entire proposal has to be printed and delivered to the customer next morning, and there is a outage in the area where the proposal was to be printed, and finally we had to take the proposal to another area and go to that area with all our printers and laptops and everything, print it there, and finally go and submit it in the morning to the customer. So always maintain backups. We have seen that backups of entire developed proposals lost because somebody accidentally deleted it, the disk got crashed or anything. So always keep as your proposal starts developing, always keep a updated copy at a remote location which you can access to avoid any sort of outages and triages. Another big problem which happens in when you have multiple people writing the content is a mix up of the versions of the content. So the writers may submit and somebody else is assembling the entire proposal, and there is always a chance of missing some new content coming in and letting the older content remain there. And these sort of issues should be managed very effectively by using a version control. You should either use a naming convention for file naming convention. Proper, you should have a proper file naming convention to capture the versions, or you can use if you are using a repository, then possibly you can use the repository, a document repository like SharePoint. You can use their functions for managing the version controls and only keep the updated version. Rest all other versions you can move them to the archives. And if your proposal has to be printed remotely, that is, you are printing here and you are creating the proposal offshore, and your proposal has to be printed on site, in that case you need to revisit your proposal time, and you have to do more quality checks, because once the product proposal is gone from your side, then you will not have any control on the proposal, or implicit controls on the proposal. It will be all off, and you will not be, even if you identify some mistakes in the proposal, you will not be able to make those changes in the proposal. So your production planning basically converts all your hard work which you do through the entire proposal development life cycle and converts into a product. And the quality of the product, because if suppose your quality of your product, like the printing is hazy, pictures are not legible, there was low, the resolution is too low, that actually will be detrimental for the evaluators, because they cannot understand and see what you have given. The quality of it does not look good, it does not impress, it is not impressive. It that creates a negative mindset in the that negative thoughts in the mind of the evaluator, that they cannot submit me a good or impressive proposal. How would they submit, how would they deliver a project, or how would they seem to be too lousy to do this type of jobs. So your proposal production management is an important important factor which you need to consider while managing your entire project, yeah, I mean entire proposal. Next, getting into the lessons learned analysis, and this is the most important thing which you valuable thing you which you do at the end of the submission of the proposal, and after getting the inputs from your sales team or from the debriefing of your customer. When you get the debriefing, where irrespective of the win or the loss, try to capture every vital information which you are getting from the customer, and not only about you but also about the competitor, because that will give you enough thoughts of how you can if you have lost the proposal, then how you can improve your proposal quality in the next in the for the next proposal, and do not commit the same sort of mistakes. And from your competitor, if you have won, and from your competitors weaknesses, why the customer has chosen you, you get strengths and discriminators over the competitors, and you can repeat them in your next proposal. uh, Lesson learned analysis also helps you in improving the products and services you offer, because you get to know about your weaknesses, you get to know where you need to. And not only, it cannot be only a weakness in your solution or your approach, it can be a weakness in your delivery management, it can be a weakness in your references, it can be weaknesses in your price, you're too priced or highly priced. So it helps you in improving and reviewing and improving your products quality as well as the services you provide. And in a way, it overall it improves the entire proposal capabilities, not just only the not only what went wrong, what was managed, what could have been managed in a better way, who was not aligned to the proposal development life cycle. These all things, if you can identify during the entire proposal, but during the lesson learned analysis, it will help you in improving your entire proposal capability, organization's proposal capability. And obviously honor the good work, that I always appreciate and let the entire, not only the entire the proposal team know, but let the organization know about the good work done by an individual or by a team for making a proposal, a winning proposal. And ultimately your objectives should not be to not should not be to learn from your proposal mistakes uh, and uh, and cry over the spill milk, but to improve and win your future bids. So your proposal, your lesson learned analysis basically helps you in understanding how did you fare against the competition versus the competition, good or bad, and what helped you or what hindered them. And this is a very important learning which you can use in your future proposals. So that's about the lessons learned analysis. And I think with that we come to an end of today's session. So if you have any questions, you can either type in, and we can have the discussions around it. Okay, so here we see a set of questions here, and the questions which we have here today is, okay, we talked about the roles which will form a team horizontally working on an opportunity end to end. Can we have a dedicated person who takes care of the pre-qualification, eligibility? The reason being it is usually independent of technical solution, uh, designer or the commercials attached to it. Will it affect the flow of the proposal response? Yeah, definitely you can have, depending on the size of the proposal or the size of the opportunity. And if it is something which you have been doing again and again, and you know about much more about the opportunity. Now, in that case, you can have one single person taking a call of whether we should go for it or whether you should not go for it. But in case you are pursuing an opportunity where you know you have some capabilities but you are not knowing whether you should be able to bring in all your strengths in the organization, and typically if it is a large organization, that whether you will be able to bring in all the capabilities and strengths of your organization to win it, then in that case you need to involve others also, and it is always better to involve others and get their inputs. Does it affect the proposal response? In a way, yes, it does affect the proposal response, because you are limited to the views of one single person, and you that person may be limited in his view, because a proposal we know requires multiple views. It requires a delivery view, it requires a technology view, it requires a commercial view, it requires a capability view. So each of these views can come, may come from one single person. I have not if that person is a very senior person and has been in the organization and knows every in and out of the organization, and the organization is smaller. But in the case of a larger organization, you need to involve people from to give different perspectives and different views, and they help in making the proposal much more competitive, much more realistic, much more technology viable, sort of. Okay. Does it answer your question? Okay, thanks. Okay. Are there any additional checks in team selection and management while bidding in a consortium, a high value complex, where the number of people are involved are more than 50 to 60 who directly contribute in preparing the response? Okay, it's a good question. Yes, there needs to be additional checks, and those additional checks are basically identifying what is the value contribution of that team member into the team. This sort of activities happen when you are doing a large bid and everybody tries to bring his his entire organization together with him, because the person who is leading may not be having the full knowledge of everything happening, and that actually is not a very good sign, that you bring in a solution architect and he comes loaded with his technology architect, business analyst. There's nothing bad with it, but the leader should have a control over his entire team, because as a bid manager, if there are 50 people, you will not be able to run after every 50 people to see whether they are doing the right thing and they're delivering the right thing. So in that case, you actually need to create pyramids within your bid team, and then you have a leader of that particular pyramid, and tell the leader very clearly and that you are responsible for your team. I don't care if your team has 5 or 10 or 50 people. I will be looking at you for this particular responsibility, this particular deliverable. And managing 50 people will be difficult rather compared to managing 5 people. But this is something which you need to understand also. So that's all what we have for in today's session. If you have got any additional questions, please feel free to put them on the LinkedIn forum. I request you all to provide your feedback on the LinkedIn forum, and we can discuss more on other questions which come up and when you go through more details of in the APMP proposal guide. So thank you all for being a part of this session, and we will definitely meet in the next couple coming weeks to discuss on the proposal content development side. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Bye.